exploring elements, molecules, chemical reactions, and the conservation of matter. What are elements? Think of elements as the fundamental building blocks of everything around us, just like individual Lego pieces. In science, elements are pure substances that cannot be broken down into simpler substances. They are the simplest form of matter. Imagine you have a box of Lego bricks, and each brick is a different color and shape. In the world of science, each type of brick represents a different element. For example, hydrogen is one element, and oxygen is another. These are just like different types of Lego pieces. There are over 100 different elements known to science, and each one has unique properties. Some elements like gold and iron are metals, which means they can be shiny and strong. Others, like oxygen and nitrogen, are gases that we breathe in. Elements are listed on a special chart called the periodic table. This chart organizes all known elements based on their properties and helps scientists understand how they interact with each other. What are molecules? When elements combine, they form molecules. Imagine you're building a Lego castle with different types of bricks. Each Lego structure you build is like a molecule. Molecules are groups of atoms' tiny particles that are the building blocks of elements joined together in a specific way. For instance, the water you drink is a molecule made up of 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom, represented as H2O. The way these atoms are arranged in a molecule determines the properties of the substance. If you change the arrangement, you get a different substance. For example, if you have 2 hydrogen atoms and 2 oxygen atoms, you get hydrogen peroxide H2O2, which is different from water. Conservation of matter. One of the most important rules in science is the conservation of matter. This rule says that matter cannot be created or destroyed. Instead, it can only change from one form to another. Imagine you have a certain number of Lego pieces. If you build a castle and then take it apart to make a spaceship, the number of Lego pieces you started with is the same as the number you end up with. Nothing is lost or gained, it's just rearranged. This rule is crucial in chemical reactions. During a chemical reaction, substances change into new substances, but the total amount of matter remains the same. For example, when you mix vinegar with baking soda, they react to form carbon dioxide gas, water, and a new substance called sodium acetate. Even though the materials look different after the reaction, the total amount of matter hasn't changed. It's just been transformed into new forms. Chemical reactions. Chemical reactions are fascinating processes where substances interact and change into new substances. Imagine taking apart your Lego castle and using the bricks to build a completely new structure. That's what happens during a chemical reaction. Atoms rearrange themselves to form new molecules. For example, when you burn a piece of paper, it reacts with oxygen in the air. This reaction produces ash, carbon dioxide gas, and water vapor. The paper doesn't just disappear, it changes into different substances, but the total amount of matter remains the same. You can't see the carbon dioxide gas or the water vapor, but they are still there, showing that matter has just changed form. Another example is when you mix 2 liquids like vinegar and baking soda. This reaction creates bubbles and fizzing because it produces carbon dioxide gas. The fizzing is the gas escaping into the air, but if you collect all the bubbles and the liquid that remains, you'll find that the total amount of matter is still the same as before the reaction. Recap. Elements are the simplest substances that make up everything around us. Molecules are groups of atoms bonded together, forming the substances we see and use. Conservation of matter means matter is not created or destroyed in a chemical reaction. It only changes form. Chemical reactions are processes where substances transform into new substances, but the total amount of matter stays the same. Understanding these concepts helps us see how everything in the world is connected and how substances interact with each other. Science is like a giant puzzle, and learning about elements, molecules, and chemical reactions helps us piece together how our universe works.